Well, hello and welcome to the next daily. This time it's Tuesday, and Tuesday means we have a single expansion, and this one is Adventures, coming with duration cards, reserve cards, and also some events. So let's, as always, first discuss the kingdom. We have Page, which in itself looks pretty innocent, just plus one card and an action and nothing else, but it does have that below the line thing where when you discard this from play, you may exchange it for Treasure Hunter. And Treasure Hunters, so there's a whole line with Page. Treasure Hunters give you then plus one action and a coin, and you gain a silver per card the player to your right gained on the last turn. And then you can discard, when you discard this from play, you can exchange it again, this time for Warrior, which will give you plus two cards. And then once per Traveler, so all of these, Page and all of those, except for Champion, are called Travelers. They have this type. Once per Traveler you have in play, including this, each other player discards the top card of their deck and trashes it if it costs between 3 and 4. And this one you can then also exchange for a hero, which gives plus two, and you gain a treasure of your choice. In this kingdom, the only good choice for hero is gold. Um, and finally, you get to exchange the hero for a champion, which not only gives you plus action on play, but also for the rest of the game, when another player plays an attack card, it doesn't affect you. And also, whenever you play any action card, you get first plus one action. And that means that you're good to go for actions for the rest of the game. So it's like a super village. From that point on, you don't need to care about cards giving you plus action. Very, very powerful if you get it in play. But you need to, of course, get through your shuffle and exchange all of those. So that's the page line for you. So usually makes sense going for this one. There are rare boards which are maybe too fast, where it doesn't make that much sense, but I think here we will go for it. Next up we have Raise. Raise is an action, gives an action, and you can either trash the raise or a card from your hand and then look at cards from your deck per $1 per one coin that the card you trashed cost. So if you trash the raise itself, you can look at two cards and then put one of them into your hand. And if you trash a gold, well, then you can look at 6 cards and put one of them into your hand. So it doesn't get much better, but raise is decent, is really good state trashing, because it also cycles your deck. And okay-ish copper trashing. Not great, of course, because it doesn't really do anything except for thin your copper. Amulet is another trasher, and that one is a duration card, which says now and at the start of your next turn, choose 1 plus 1 coin, or trash a card from your hand, or gain a silver. So you twice get these choices, and this is also a pleasant trasher, especially if you find it on turn 3. Then you get to play it turn 3 and 4 and trash 2 cards. Otherwise, if you find it turn 4 or later, it will miss the shuffle and be a bit less powerful, but still pretty nice usually. Then Caravan Guard. Plus 1 card and an action, and at the start of your next turn, plus 1 coin. And you may also play this card when another player plays an attack card. But sadly, in this kingdom, or I don't know, not necessarily sadly, I'm all for no attack kingdoms. But in this kingdom, that below the line text is completely irrelevant, because there is no attack card. Next up, gear, plus 2 cards, and you may set aside up to 2 cards from your hand face down under the gear, and at the start of your next turn, put them into your hand. It's a very pleasant card, because if you draw actions dead with it, you can just stash them away and play them at the start of your next turn. And also notably, if you don't stash away any cards, you also discard the gear from play, because it doesn't have anything to do. And then you get to shuffle it in again. And it's just plus 2 cards in situations where you don't really need the set aside. But usually the set aside stuff is really, really good. Duplicate, you put this on your tavern mat, and when you gain a card costing up to 6, you may call this. And so the tavern mat is an external mat from which you may call the actions that you have put on it. Usually, not all of them, but in this game, Kingdom, yes. And you may call this to gain a copy of that card, of the card costing up to 6. So you can duplicate actions, but it's usually a rather slow gainer. Usually not worth it. Magpie, plus a card and an action and reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a treasure, you put it into your hand. And if it's an action or a victory card, you gain a magpie. So in the early game, paradoxically, you want to hit your reveal your estates with it, or your action cards, and not draw those coppers, because then your magpies breed. You get more of them into your deck, and in the later part, they get to draw you treasures and function as labs sometimes. These tend to be a little snowbally, because if you, I don't know, on the second shuffle already get to put in another magpie, then you'll have two that increases the chances of putting more in. So usually those splits go a little lopsided, and I don't know, it's sometimes a weird card to play with, but also usually reasonably strong. Next up, port, and it's just a village for 4, but you gain another one with it. So you gain 2 cards whenever you gain a port. Super nice. One of the strongest cards, I'd say. For 4, you get two villages. What a great deal. Then Ranger, +1 buy. Turn your journey token over, it starts face up, and then if it's face up, +5 cards. And the journey token is just a binary thing that every other time you get to play the Ranger for +5 cards. But also there's another thing that can turn over your journey token in this kingdom, actually. We'll get to that in a bit. But first, let's discuss the last card. We have Transmogrify, +1 action, and you put this on your tavern mat. And then, once it is on the tavern mat, you may call this at the start of your turn, and trash a card from your hand, and then you have to gain a card costing up to 1 more than it. This is a really bad copper trasher, because you will always, if you trash a copper or a curse, you will always need to gain a card costing up to 1 to your hand. I mean, you get to trash curses, but it's really, really bad. But it's great for tempo to trash your estates into useful cards like silvers or amulets or gears, or even pages when you need them. And yeah, this one has the same, I don't know, problem or swinginess to it as the amulet, that it's much, much stronger if you find it turn 3 than turn 4 or later. But yeah, in any case, it's really nice. And notably also, this one you have to keep in mind that if your opponent has a few of them on their tavern mat at the end of the game, if they find a province in their hand, they can just mill the provinces. That is, trash them and regain them and lower the province pile really quickly. So they incentivize slightly shorter games usually, where you need to be a bit more concise in your build. Then Pilgrimage is the event, is one of the events costing 4 here, and this one says once per turn, turn your journey token over. It starts face up. We saw that already. Then, if it's face up after turning it over, choose up to 3 differently named cards you have in play and gain a copy of each. So that will enable you to gain a gold, to gain a ranger and a gear. I don't know if you've played all those, but you will need to turn over your journey token again. And notably also, if you know the next turn you're going to have a ranger on top, and you might want to play that ranger for +5 cards, then you can buy Pilgrimage and turn the journey token over for the ranger, and vice versa, of course. And yeah, notably, you cannot gain a treasure hunter or a warrior, as they are not part of the supply. You can only gain copies of supply cards. Finally, we have Lost Arts. And this one says you move your +1 action token to an action supply pile. And when you play a card from that pile, you first get +1 action. Also very self-explanatory. The plus action token is nice on draw cards like Ranger or Gear, and sometimes in kingdoms where you don't have villages, you also put them on stuff like Magpie or Page just to have a village, depending on what you want to do, of course. Now, that wraps up a 10-minute introduction to the kingdom. I'm sorry, but there were a lot of things to explain. Let's talk about what we're about to do here. I have to confess that this kingdom looks complex and scary to me. We have a bunch of strong cards, and I'm not sure about the sequencing here. We do want to trash down. There's lots of trashing in Raise, Amulet, Transmogrify. We do want to get drawing. There's lots of drawing in Gear and Ranger and also Magpie. We notice that there is plus buy in Ranger. We also notice that there are a few extra gains apart from the plus buy in Transmogrify and Amulet gaining you silvers, Hero gaining you silvers, Treasure Hunter gaining you silvers. And I think for that reason, we might go for an early Transmogrify, because the Transmogrify will then be able to turn those silvers later into better cards. We might, depending on how quickly we get through the page line, we might pick up Lost Arts or not. And yeah, I don't know. This one looks finicky. I'm not sure what the best approach is here. So opening wise, on the 3-4 or 4-3 that we have, they're equivalent here. One could go, I think we go for Transmogrify, trying to find it as early as possible. And with the Transmogrify, we could go for a Page or for a Gear. I think they are viable choices. Raise also doesn't look all too bad. I think delaying the Page is okay here, as if you're lucky, you even get to Transmogrify into the Page. However, if we were to find the Transmogrify turn 3, then having the Gear in deck would be kind of bad, because then we would trigger another shuffle. Although it would be a short shuffle, I think that would be okay. So yeah, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm liking Transmogrify Gear. It's not all too bad if we draw that, the Transmogrify. We just get to play it at the start of the next turn. It's not great, of course, but we get to cycle a bit. We maybe get to set aside cards from the next from shuffle with the Gear. Yeah, I think I like the Gear Transmogrify opening. I've talked myself into it. On the 5-2, however, both Transmogrify Raise and Transmogrify Page look really good. And we will pick up an amulet later, I think, and maybe ports to go with it while we get through the page line. We are going for the champion in the end, I think, unless there is a good reason for going for Lost Arts somewhere in between. All right, and with that lengthy introduction, let's start the game. Go for this Gear Transmogrify opening. So we don't find the Transmogrify here, but we do get to set it aside. Now, on the next turn, we're not going to draw. We're going to have 3 coppers. Actually, we might be able to draw into these. Yeah, let's draw into these cards. Let's set aside copper Transmogrify, and no, I'm completely stupid. Of course, we don't get to play and replace something with the Transmogrify already. So here I am not sure. Let's put in another Transmogrify. I think they're good here. And now let's already put in a page or an amulet. We are a bit over terminal, so I think I like the page. And I think also just turning one of these estates into a page here is the correct decision. We draw the other one, nice. And now here we get to set aside 2 cards. Next turn we'll have that transmogrify, and we can pick up another gear here. I know I said I want to have an amulet in. Maybe the amulet is more enticing. Whatever we buy now, we will find the next turn. We also could, instead of setting aside estate and copper, we could just go for ports or magpie, but we are over-terminaling ourselves quite a bit. And I'm not even sure we want to exchange both of those. But yeah, we find one here. Let's hope the AI doesn't pick up too many cards. Okay, that's good. So we get to put these in hand, turn this into an amulet, trash this last estate, I think. Or do we want to keep it around for transmogrify? Many decisions. Let's go for... We can... It doesn't really matter for this turn what we trash here. We want to... Yeah, let's go for the estate trash. Let's just be a bit on the conservative side there. I mean, we can also, in principle, go for plus coin on the amulet and put lost arts on gear. That also doesn't sound all too bad. And then having the gear next turn, hopefully, could also bottom deck. We would draw on into this shuffle of... No, I think I like trashing here. There's just... Yeah. And since we put in the warrior, let's also put in this. No, I gains 2 cards here, right? No, 3 cards even. Do we want to even play this treasure hunter right now? Actually, I don't think so. 3 silvers in this deck don't sound great. Yeah, I mean, we did have the transmogrify there, but what can you do? Let's get another page in. We do find these ports here, which is great. We will find the warrior. AI gains 3 cards once again. No, 4 cards this time. This is annoying. Let's stash away this treasure hunter once again. We just cannot afford to get all of those silvers in at this point. But we do get to trash here, which is nice. And I think at this point, since we are going to put in a gold next turn, I like also putting in a ranger. We might be a bit short on draw next turn. On village, of course, sorry. But we also will have this transmogrify, and if worst comes to worst, we can always think about turning, I don't know, the treasure hunter into ports, but that doesn't happen. Now, AI trashes one of our gears. This is bad, of course. But what we can do now is just, well, say goodbye to this page and just regain the gear. Now, yes, we do find the hero. How much money will this be? 1, 2, 3. We have the 2 actions to play both hero and ranger. So we have 5 there. And with 5 we can buy... do we just want to set aside the silver to trash it next turn into something nice? I think that might be the better way. We won't be able to really buy 2 cards here anyways. So yeah, let's just go for that. And next turn, or the turn after next turn, we might find the the champion. Now, what do we want to go for here? We do have the option to just go for pilgrimage. In that case, would be able to gain a ranger. Yeah, I think we need to go for that pilgrimage. And we can I mean, we don't need to go for that pilgrimage, but it sure seems nice. There might be an argument to just gain 2 more ports here. You can always turn them into something better if it doesn't work out, but if we don't find any ports next turn, we might be in for a sad time. So, well, we don't find anything enticing anyways. And while we could and maybe should turn this silver into something, well, let's just go for the magpie stuff now. Doesn't make all too much sense, but it's all right. Yeah, I think I still like to go for that, just to have the chance of maybe drawing. But we will draw for sure next turn, and that makes me think to just put in another ranger to maximize draw now. Now AI is also up the page line. It's at hero now, gaining that gold, and it seems to be drawing really well. So this is not looking all too great. Do we just get +1 here? I think we're not thin enough yet to justify gaining the extra silver. Yeah, let's play the champion now. Play that gear, decline. Port is kind of useless. Do we want to try to find the... No, we don't even have another traveler in our deck, right? So let's see. Is this too conservative? Yeah, there should be another ranger in there. We find it amazing. We do get to set aside 2 magpies. We couldn't activate them there. And now here, this looks like a pilgrimage for sure. Put in another ranger, another gold, and another gear. Okay. And we need to be somewhat cognizant of piles as well. They are surely getting low. So instead of going for another gear here, I think I like just being safe and going for page, but yeah, this is kind of scary, not going to lie. We do have those nice magpies set aside. AI doesn't have anything incoming, but it does have a stack of rangers and might find its champion. So do we want to turn this warrior into a hero to just have a bit more payload next turn? I think I like that as well. And AI does find its champion. That's not good. And does find 2 of its rangers. So it does seem to draw. Let's see. Maybe we get to pile out on our next turn with the magpies, gaining other magpies. AI for sure does get that draw in and does get to have that journey token turned over. but it will just province here, right? Provinces and buys the last ranger. Well, we can work with that, and also lowers the gears. That's interesting. Now, do we want to go for it? Here is the question now. Do we have it in us in this? So there's 3 ports we'd need to gain and 3 gears, which is then how much money is that? Do we have that? That would be 9 plus 4. So I'm thinking whether we should try to go for it. Maybe going for the Magpies seems safer, because if we can set it up, then the Magpies will autopile. I think I actually like that more, going for turning those ports into Magpies, and then they will be able to gain us the remaining 4 Magpies. We can get a bunch of... Do we have enough money? The amulet can gain us a silver. We have 2 golds, then 2 silvers. The hero, that's already 6. The silver's 10. The hero 12. 2 coppers. That's still scary. Do we have the money? Man. Um, I think if we want to be able to do it, we need to... Let's be safe, somewhat safe-ish, and get this duplicate. I think that might enable us to get 1 gear for less than that. And yeah, I mean, if the Magpies don't find anything, we can try to Province Plus. The Magpies don't find anything, or, well, they don't breed. Well, yeah, I don't know. And we should have maybe put the duplicate on top, played the duplicate first. That was stupid. So now what do we do? I think we can draw here, right? Yes. There's no way to gain further Magpies, unfortunately. So can gain this gold. Do we want to duplicate it? Yes, I think so, because we cannot finish the piles here. So we just need to really set ourselves up for the next turn. AI does have a transmogrify on its mat. We do hit 20 here, but that's not enough with the current state, right? We could pilgrimage for, I don't know, Magpies, gears, and whatever. But that's still then 6 there, 10, and then for 3 Magpies. That's we would be able to, not even given our buy situation, we wouldn't even be able to finish this. Well, that was a bit underwhelming, but yeah, what can you do? Do we go estate or page here? Let's go for the page and not exchange that hero. And well, the page is kind of a nothing buy, I guess. Maybe should have been a raise to filter a bit better. Let's see. AI does not hit a magpie here, which is good. I was really hoping for having some sort of Magpie autopile, and I was a bit too scared of not having enough money for gear, province, and estate. And what does AI go for with the pilgrimage here? I don't understand this pilgrimage, to be honest. Just golden gear. It doesn't lower the magpies. That's what you should do in this situation. Let's gain a silver here. We have the ranger coming in to give us some start of turn draw. Now the magpies breed. Amazing. And again, I should have played that. Do we want to duplicate now? Yes, now we have the win in hand. For sure, you can just draw, set some stuff aside, draw again, and yeah, let's gain another gold into the shuffle, set some stuff aside. But this was shakier than I anticipated. But yeah, look at this beautiful money now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what to take away from this one. It was a really fast kingdom. We both got our champions in. I had a little less payload, but had this stack of rangers. I really liked to have this big amount of gears to set up the next turns. I am not sure whether on turn 12 I might have had the win. And at least it wasn't guaranteed, I think. With the ports gains, we could have. Wait, if we think about it, we had 20 money, and I think the 20 money would have just been enough for some pilgrimage gaining. So what I'm thinking about, I'm terrible at explaining this right now, but on this turn where we had, actually, let's go back. Let's see whether we had the win there. So it was the beginning of turn 12, right? Before we played the transmogrifies. Let's say we trash all of those. We go for the ports line instead. Trash ports 2 times here. And then we go for these magpies that will would I don't know, draw here. We have enough draw to get through all of this. We get to pick up the gold, and we do not want to play the second ranger, as the pilgrimage you can only buy once per turn, and we want to have it turned over like this. We want to gain a silver. Oh, maybe we are buy short actually. Interesting. Now we only hit 18. Why do we hit less than we did before? Because we didn't get the duplicate. But we could go for gear ports, I don't know, magpies maybe. Buy the last 2 gears, but then we would only have had 6 to buy the last province. I think, yeah, the line we took wasn't optimal with the magpies, but it was certainly safer, and yeah, in that case we would have lost. So I'm happy we did what we did. Yeah. That's an interesting way to end this video in a completely lost situation, but in the end we got to win. And yeah, well, with that I would end this video. And yeah. Oh no, I actually wanted to capture the screenshot, but I forgot. No. Anyways, with that I'll leave you, and sorry for some weird rambling in the end. I just wanted to try out whether we had the win there. And yeah, I will try to catch you next time. Goodbye.